Well, the sharks have changed their behavior. If you give it food every day,
It's gonna expect
it's going to
food
expect
every day.
food. So pretty much that's what's happening. They seem to be magnets for tourists everywhere.
What's
the idea of swimming with a shark?
Uh-huh.
One that's really big, that's not going to eat you. Like in one day, I've seen a fisherman earn 6,000 pesos.
Wow.
Okay? When prior to this, maybe they'd earn 200.
This is Breaking Glass.
There's one of them here that's like as big as a car. Like his face is probably a bus. Yeah.
When I realize how nice or beautiful they are, these animals, I think it's a very positive thing for them.
The town of Oslob in the southern tip of Cebu was once a tranquil fishing village that had a habit of, some say bad habit, of hand-feeding whale sharks, or what the locals call Tuki. Like a number of things in the 21st century, that all changed when someone posted a video of this practice on YouTube. Oslob is sleepy no more. They get about 500 tourists a day, and the lives of these gentle giants, and just as important, the people from the area, have changed. Tuki Chronicles is a fairly balanced video series about this phenomenon. We're joined today by Karina Escudero, who is part of a group behind this series. Karina, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Jay.
Let's first talk about the Tuki.
Okay.
They've been around, the whale shark, they've been around 60 million years, from my understanding, and they are filter feeders, meaning they eat plankton, squid, so they're really gentle giants, right? You've known them for quite some time. What is it that you've learned from them, from these whale sharks?
Well, I've learned, I mean, these are the biggest fish in the sea, okay? And I find that they kind of join the whole chain of the web of life because they eat the smallest animals in the ocean.
So they're not those fierce, the sharks, when images of sharks, they're eating, they eat meat. But these whale sharks, they don't do that, right?
Well, they eat small things. Their throats are about so wide. And they'll eat maybe, the biggest thing they'll eat maybe is a sardine.
Okay.
So they're quite amazing. They're on our money now.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's right.
They
that's
are.
Right.
They're already on our 100 peso bill.
All right.
And they seem to be magnets for tourists everywhere.
What is it that attracts tourists to them?
I suppose it's the idea of swimming with a shark. One that's really big, that's not going to eat you.
For quite some time, they'd practice this, feeding these sharks in this town of Oslob. The fisherman would give them fish. And then that changed because a foreigner had taken a video of that, and all of a sudden, people started coming to the town.
That's right.
How did that change the whale sharks, that whole episode, being fed by fishermen?
Well, the sharks have changed their behavior. So imagine a puppy dog or a stray cat in your house. If you give it food every day,
it's going to expect
it's going to expect
every day.
food. So pretty much that's what's happening. Every day from 5:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., the sharks come around and beg for food from the boats.
So you mean they have forgotten their natural way of eating?
I'm not sure about what they do when they're away from Oslo, but certainly when they're there, they are bumping into boats, asking, kind of saying, "Hey, feed me."
So what has happened? What's the atmosphere there now like? After having all these 500 tourists a day on average.
Well, it's like boomtown. All of a sudden, well, it's not even a whole town. It's one barangay. It's 500 meters of beach. In this 500 meters, everything's springing up really fast. Like structures, resorts, tourism business.
I know, we've talked about the impact on the whale sharks, but I think as important, what has happened to the people in the community? I mean, normally they were fishermen. A year ago, they were fishermen. Now they're, tourist boats, right? I mean, that they don't do any fishing anymore. Am I correct?
Well, they still fish a little bit, but they don't need to fish anymore because they get enough of an income from taking people out to see the shark.
And I think they charge, how much is it? 300 pesos per person?
It ranges from 300 to 1,500, depending on whether you want to swim, dive, snorkel, or if you're a local or a foreigner. Like in one day, I've seen a fisherman earned 6,000 pesos.
Wow.
Okay? When prior to this, maybe they earned 200.
What happens to a people? Share with us what happens to people that, last week they were making 200 pesos, now this week.
Well, now they drink Red Horse beer.
So
Okay,
they-
normally you go around the coastal areas, you
Uh-huh.
see people drinking gin and stuff like that. You go there, everybody drinks Red Horse. I think it's a sign of prosperity.
But you think they've made good use of this money in their community?
I guess in every community you have people who make use of it, and some people, it boils down to the human being at the end of the day.
Has that community grown? I mean, have they put up, I don't know, I mean, what do they need? A hospital, a better school? Is that something that has
I haven't
happened there?
seen that happen. Actually, everything seems to be kind of a knee-jerk response. Everything's happening really fast. It's kind of worrisome, in fact, because stuff like trash cans, infrastructure from the government, you don't see any real improvement.
So the government there has not, taken hold of what is going on. I
But
mean,
they have, because everything similar to Donsol, everything's by ordinance, all of the rates. But government seems to be more concerned about things like earning the money and how to divide the money and stuff like this. But they're not really thinking of other things.
So should somebody step in and help that community, let them realize what has to,
I
what
think
has to be
things
done?
will. Well, it would be nice to see the local government do a bit more. But I guess things will just somehow happen.
Okay, let's show a clip with what is going on with the community.
Okay.
It is my big responsibilities to manage the guests, the visitors, even the local peoples. One at a time, kumbaga, yung pag-dispatch natin sa customer dahil to avoid na mag-overcrowd sa water.
Oslob long ago stopped the practice of killing whale sharks for meat, right? Because I think the government decided that should stop. And I think that was a response partly because of what happened in Donsol, right?
Yes, that's right.
And I think you were part of that, right? Of that program of Donsol. Talk to us about Donsol.
Well, Donsol, it boomed because one whale shark was killed. And it was
And this
really
was what, 14 years
creation-
ago, am I
14
correct?
years ago,
Okay.
actually, in March 1998.
So one whale shark was killed.
Well, there was this huge demand for whale shark meat because, for export. So
Where does
most
this
of
go? Where does whale shark meat go?
around Asia,
Okay.
Taiwan, Singapore, I guess.
Alright.
In those days, it was quite popular. So there was this demand, and most of the sharks were being caught around the Bohol, Cebu area,
Okay.
like around near Oslo. And the numbers of sharks were dwindling already. So some of the hunters went to Donsol and caught a shark. So this is what landed in the in the headlines about it.
Why did it land in the headlines? Why that particular
Because-
shark in Donsol? Why?
Because the shark got killed, and we were all there trying to protect it. So it just became a big media
Because
circus.
because the media was there.
The media, it was an election year, and it was headline news. It was like on Star, Inquirer, ABS-CBN, GMA7 every day for 2 weeks solid.
Wait, that's funny. Why did you mention election year? What did that mean?
Because it seemed to have put all this pressure on politicians.
And they
So
were forced
within
to act
2
on-
weeks, as in a national law was passed. It happened really quick.
So hooray for elections.
Yeah,
I mean,
great.
for the whale
Now it's
sharks at
happening
least.
again. Next year's election year again.
So they should pressure.
I don't know what's gonna happen.
So when that happened, how were you involved in that? So what did
How
you
was
do?
I involved? I heard this report that there was a lot of whale sharks in a place called Donsol. Being a diver and a cinematographer, I wanted to stop the killing, which I knew was happening in Bohol. And any person who has an underwater camera would love to swim and shoot a whale shark. So I went there because of that. And that's how it started.
So
It's as
because
simple
of
as
that, because of the media attention, the law was passed.
We went there, we had our cameras. So when one shark got killed, we kind of all banded together and gave the media all of the ammunition they needed to make it an issue. So that's how it began. because of the media attention, people found out about it. People went, and more people went.
So now, Donsol has a lot of tourists. In fact,
A lot
am I
of
correct?
tourists.
Yes.
Yes.
But they've been careful with the whole situation. Am I correct? I mean, it's organized. Is it?
It's organized, but
I see hesitation there.
it's organized. But what's happening is every year the numbers of visitors increase and increase and increase. So when your product is an animal, this can get to a point where you have too many people. Okay? Like take this year for example. Donsol was full, Oslob was full. There are more places in the Philippines with sharks, by the way. There's Puerto Princesa, there's Leyte.
But they don't get the press. The press. They don't. The media.
I think
Uh-huh.
it might be a better idea for things to happen slowly. You know?
And in fact, that's the thing. You're involved with tourism, ecotourism, but you have said that you'd rather be careful about bringing people to certain places.
Well,
What is it that you're?
It's because when your product is nature, be it a fish, a tree, whatever, there's what you call a carrying capacity. Like so many, a beach is beautiful for, say, 5 people. If you put 200 people on that same beach, it's no longer...
Or like Boracay,
Right,
5,000 people.
Yeah,
and then-
right. So there's like this line, that is so easy to cross. That's why I've learned promoting something, it's a double-edged sword,
I know, I can see that in you. You'd love to promote nature and wildlife, yet at the same time,
I kind of
you want to
learned
keep it a secret.
from what I saw in Donsol.
Uh-huh.
In the first year, maybe 700 people went, but now you're getting 50,000 people per year.
Do you think
And,
the government, the tourism agencies, they understand this?